Psalm 2, verse 2 reveals a side of God we don't hear much about. Quote, "He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision." California Governor Gavin Newsom says he wants President Joe Biden to run for re-election in 2024. He not only beat Trump once, I think he can beat him again, Newsom said. "I hope he runs. I'll enthusiastically support him," Newsom added. The governor wants to do more traveling and bring his message to places like Florida, where he noted that he will contrast his record on COVID-19, crime, and show how he defines freedom to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Earlier this year, Newsom ran an ad in Florida claiming that freedom is under assault in the Sunshine State, but Floridians apparently disagreed because they re-elected incumbent GOP Governor DeSantis during the 2022 election. But he that sitteth in the heavens is still laughing. Sam Brinton, recently celebrated by Biden as the first gender-fluid person in the federal government, is facing felony charges after being caught stealing luggage at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. According to court documents, police used video surveillance to catch Brinton taking a woman's hard-sided Vera Bradley roller suitcase from the airport's baggage claim area. Traveling to St. Paul from Washington on a different flight than the owner of the luggage, Brinton made the trip without any checked baggage but showed up at one of the luggage carousels and snatched the woman's suitcase, according to the official complaint. Brinton removed the luggage tag and left the area at a quick pace. In our next report, we go to China. Mass protests are spreading in a rare outbreak of public anger at the government. Thousands are demanding that President Xi Jinping step down. Such public outrage at the government's policies has not been seen since the Tiananmen Square massacre of 1989. We all remember the tank man challenging a tank to move forward. It was a bloodbath of unprecedented proportions. Parents and grandparents are still mourning the disappearance of their sons and daughters who have not been heard from. Since the first COVID-19 outbreak was reported in Wuhan, the communist regime in China has countered the virus with harsh social control measures in an effort to eliminate every infection among communities. Snap lockdowns, repeated testings, mass surveillance, and mandatory quarantine of anyone the government deemed to be a risk are among the methods that communist officials have taken to implement their zeroed COVID policy. 3 years later, many had expected the communist government would pivot away from the harsh approach that deprived food, medicine, and ordinary amenities from lockdown residents. Countless tragedies involving non-COVID patients because of delayed medical care angered many citizens. Recently, a fire in Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang province, claimed more than 10 lives. Many are enraged and claim that the lockdown policies interfered with rescue operations. At Beijing's prestigious Tsinghua University, dozens of people held a peaceful protest against COVID restrictions during which they sang the Chinese Communist Party's anthem. One student said, "If we don't dare to speak out because we are afraid, our people will be disappointed in us. I will regret it all my life." Close quotes. No one likes the Chinese Communist Party or President Xi, a Shanghai resident told the Epoch Times. He added that the Chinese people are fed up with the repressive COVID policies. The nationwide discontent and harsh restrictions pose the biggest challenge to President Xi, a hardline Maoist. Last month, Xi awarded himself the record-breaking third term in office. Installing his allies in the party's top decision-making bodies, Xi is now the country's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong. It is my sincere belief that the devil is afraid of China. Yes, the devil is afraid of China. This brutalized nation and people has an amazing history of Christian growth and revival. A recent book titled China and End Time Prophecy, How God is Using the Red Dragon to Fulfill His Ultimate Purposes, details the growth of the Chinese underground house church movement. Despite the intense persecution, the movement has been mobilized to fulfill a vision for China to evangelize the nations in the 1040 window. Called the Back to Jerusalem movement, it is evangelizing the unreached peoples of China's eastern provinces and all the countries between the border of China and the city of Jerusalem. Another book, Shandong, The Revival Province by Paul Hathaway, is a detailed study of a revival that started in the early 20th centuries and grew to monumental proportions. Forced underground by the Japanese invasion and the rise of Mao Zedong, the fires of revival are still burning brightly. Please pray for China. Please pray for President Xi. I cannot help but think that the current unrest in China is a fresh start for a mighty move of God in a nation of 1,400,000,000 people. Now let's shift gears and talk about the holidays. If the angry progressives had their way, there would be no Christmas, no Easter, no Thanksgiving. If they had their way, anything related to Jesus Christ would be deleted. Jerry Newcomb, in a WorldNet Daily report, states that the King County Department of Human Resources, which is the Seattle area, has sent out a memo to all employees. Quote, "Employees may not share your religion, practice any religion, or share your enthusiasm for holiday decorations. Displays in religious symbols may only be displayed in an employee's personal workspace. Religious symbols should not be displayed in or as a background to an employee's virtual workspace." Close quotes. One man who celebrated Christmas and wasn't afraid to tell others about it was our 40th president, I believe one of our greatest, President Ronald Reagan. At Christmas time in 1983, he said this, "Sometimes in the hustle and bustle of holiday preparations, we forget that the true meaning of Christmas was given to us by the angelic host that holy night long ago. Christmas is the commemoration of the birth of the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ, whose message would truly be one of good tidings and great joy, peace and goodwill. During this glorious festival, let us renew our determination to follow his example." So said President Ronald Reagan.